Secrets hidden in plain sight. Powers that move the world in the shadows. Questions no one dares to answer. Step beyond the Matrix. Subscribe.
So it's quite a well-known theory that we are apparently just here to be harvested for loosh, which is the energy we produce when we're having negative emotions or feeling miserable, etc., etc. I do believe that there are entities that do feed on us having negative emotions. However, if our primary function was to produce this for other beings, think about this. Do we not laugh more than we cry? Like, if we were created just to do that for some other force, would they not be harvesting laughter instead of tears?
No, because since I'm turning 30 this year, I'm starting to lock in. Like, I feel like none of the food that we buy or eat is even fucking real. And what I mean by that is when I was a kid, I remember going to the grocery store and you couldn't even buy like strawberries or certain fruits because they weren't in season, right? Now everything's in motherfucking season. Because they building that shit in fucking labs, bitch. Why are onions the size of basketballs, bro? Why are they so big? Like, why are y'all fucking fattening us up like this? I mean, I know it's to keep us sick, but like, people are saying the chicken is 3D printed and it be looking funky. Nothing sounds good to eat anymore. Everyone in the US it has some sort of stomach issue. The food's making us sick. The food is making us sick. And don't look for me for answers. I don't know the answer. Like maybe shop at farmers markets. I don't know. All I know is I feel like I'm waking up a little bit.
I've been saying they put everything right in our faces and our dumbasses still choose to be asleep and think it's just entertainment. No, it's planned. And it is part of the contract that they have to tell us what they're going to do because we have free will to fucking stop it. So on Don't Look Up, if you guys haven't watched the movie, it's on Netflix. Literally, there's a video going around comparing real life to Don't Look Up, and it is uncanny. We are literally living that fucking movie. If we don't raise the collective consciousness and raise the vibrations and overturn our fucking political system, our whole fucking system needs to be overturned. We need to revolt. We need a revolution. They will destroy this planet because the people that are running this planet are not really people. They are beings from other planets who have come here to turn humanity into human slaves. Like I said, if you haven't watched Inside Job on Netflix, go watch it. It tells everything that is really happening. And they make it into a joke and they laugh in our fucking faces because the conspiracy theorists are the crazy ones. But yet we always end up being fucking right. And how many conspiracy theories need to be...
So you think the moon you learned about is what's causing this eclipse? You sure about that? You sure that that moon that's supposedly 2,000 miles wide is only casting a 70-mile shadow on the United States? And that the moon is really this big and somehow casting a smaller shadow on the Earth? Because anytime I've ever seen a shadow, it's always bigger than the object it's being cast from, or close to the same size, but never smaller. Perhaps that moon that you think is 240,000 miles away is really much closer and much smaller and just circling around us just like the sun. And at a certain point, they overlap. And maybe the sun and the moon are actually the same size. And it's not just some crazy coincidence that the sun is 400 times farther away and 400 times bigger to match up perfectly. But maybe, just maybe, you like believing. It's easier. People like the easy thing. No one wants to put the time in and do the difficult thing and spend time actually learning and gaining knowledge. Why not take the easy way out? It's what society does these days. But not this guy. I choose to take the tough road. Why don't you? Because the tough road, it's what makes you stronger. And stronger, it's good for everybody. But I'm just teasing anyway. Of course, take the easy way out. Why wouldn't you? That's what I do all the time. Easy, easy, easy. Always here just to make you laugh. Fun, fun, fun. Here to entertain. I don't really believe any of this stuff anyway. And if you want more fun and entertainment, download the Flat Earth Clock app. Use my code FITFLAT when you're signing up. Doesn't get me anything, just lets people know that I'm spreading the word.
So many conspiracies turned out to just be the truth, and that's funny to me. Like, the government went so far to demonize all of these people who believed in conspiracy theories and literally make people seem like they're crazy for believing these things, when realistically it was the truth the whole time. So like, that's why it's interesting, because the government is literally demonizing the people who believe the things that are actually going on just because they don't want everybody to know what's going on, which means that the government will lie to you. That's literally what that means. And like, they literally will demonize believing in conspiracy theories, but then now we have the fact that MLK and JFK were assassinated by the government. Like, we have aliens actually exist now, and they're just, giving disclosure, and now we're in the age of disclosure, and aliens can just be talked about like it's a regular thing. And now they're saying that we do in fact have directed energy weapons. Right. So people have been saying all of these things for decades and decades and decades, but slowly over time, and like really within the last like 5 to 10 years, all of this information is really just coming out and becoming common knowledge. And it's like, oh, like these things are actually the truth. They're not conspiracies. Oh, okay, so the government literally demonized people who believed in these conspiracies and literally discredited people for believing in these things and silenced people and ruined people's careers and all of these things based off of things that were actually the truth. And they ended up saying it was the truth all along. So it's like, you guys did all of that to then just come out and say that these conspiracies were actually just truths that were hidden in plain sight. But some people believed it, but those people were discredited because you didn't want everybody to know that those were the true things that were happening. Like, that's weird to me. That's weird to me, and that's why it's like we need to be questioning everything that's going on, because the government literally could discredit all these people who believed in these conspiracies, but they were all true. They silenced people, they got rid of people, whistleblowers went missing, like all of these things. It's like, no, you did all of that for things that ended up being true. So like, what else could you be not telling the full truth about? That's all I'm saying. Like, it's wild to me though.
Yo, I know there's some people that believe in a simulation theory. Now, for those that don't, you could keep scrolling. But if you do, stick around. Now, they tell us that Saturn is a planet, a floating rock, a ringed gas giant that's in space. But what if it's not a planet at all, and it's actually the central processor for this whole simulation? So think of it like Saturn is functioning as the CPU of reality. Because every simulation needs 3 things: a power source, a clock, and a processor. Now Saturn fulfills all 3 of those. And across every ancient civilization, Saturn appeared as the same archetype. The architect, the lawgiver, the timekeeper, the judge. The Romans called him Saturn, but the Greeks called him Kronos. Literally the root word for chronological time. And Kronos didn't just rule time, but it created a time constraint. Because Saturn rules limitation, rules boundaries, time. In other words, Saturn defines the parameters of the game. And just like a CPU will set the limits for what a software can do. And now the thing is, Saturn isn't silent, it's always emitting a powerful electromagnetic frequency. And there's scientists that actually discovered that Saturn is always emitting a signal. And this is known as Saturn's kilometric radiation, which is a constant transmission, like a broadcast. In ancient civilizations, they didn't just rule Saturn as a sphere, but it was a ringed eye. And that's because rings amplify signals, just like an antenna. So Saturn doesn't orbit, but it broadcasts. So now what gets interesting is that at Saturn's North Pole, there's a hexagon. And that's not symbolism, like that's physically on Saturn. And that hexagon is the geometry of the control system. Because if you realize the hexagon is in everyday life. A computer processor is literally in the shape of a hexagon. A honeycomb is in the shape of a hexagon, coming from sacred geometry, and the hexagon is even in CERN symbolism. And the hexagon pretty much symbolizes efficient energy containment. 6 sides, 6 directions, and 6 points of balance. And that is why a cube unfolds into a hexagon. So in other words, the hexagon is the blueprint for the whole simulation, for our whole matrix. But I ain't gonna get too deep into it, but let me know if you guys want a part 2. Peace.
Event after event after event. Look, I've been trying to tell people and warn people since 2019. For the last 6 years, I've been deemed a lunatic. I've been deemed crazy by family members. friends, and whoever else I've tried to tell what was going on to. What's coming. You are so blessed to be living in these days. This is biblical times. This has never been seen before. The old guard, the old corrupt system is being replaced. So you're going to see event after event after event. Look, that doesn't mean times aren't going to be rough. We may experience very hard times, but see, for something old and corrupt to go away, see, the whole foundation has to be demolished. Not just part of it, all of it. And we may experience some growth pain. So hey, buckle up. But know that what's coming is for the best. See, for those of you who think God isn't doing anything, oh, He's doing something bigger than you could ever imagine. You could ever imagine. What's done in the darkness will be brought to light. He told us that so many times. And He also says, do not fear. Do not fear. Do not fear. But what do you see all over the news? Fear. 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 Entertainment purposes only. No facts here. Just my opinion. But buckle up. Prepare your family. Prepare yourselves. Pray. Because it's coming.
We already know they say that the deepest parts of hell is cold as ice. And whoever is spiritually in tune with what's going on, we already know that a lot of what's going on here is echoed frequency from the other side. And from what's being said, we're getting very, very strong solar flares. The strongest solar flares we have gotten in a while. Next thing you know, you see 3 chemtrails stretching across the sky for everybody to see on all recordings. Now, could it be possible that this is reptilian beings protecting themselves from the solar flares? Could it be what we know as the evil entities projecting themselves into the bodies and calling themselves ice? Today is January 26, 2026. And could it be that Tartarus is making its way to our dimension? Let me know in the comments, because I'm just genuinely being me, your boy D, and I would love to hear your opinions. Until then, TikTok, signing out.
Have you ever thought that weathermen plant the seed for us to manifest the weather? So if our perception creates our reality, if the weathermen are telling a huge group of people that the weather is going to be a certain way, we all see that and believe it and manifest it? So if we just didn't have weathermen, like, I wonder what would happen, because I was just thinking about this big storm. Like, if we all just collectively imagined it being warm and like a regular day, like if we could change the weather. Just a question.
Y'all, is it just me or is it anybody else that's like really sleepy? And it's 2026, because I was not like this last year. I have been sleeping so much this year. Like, I could sleep for 9 hours, wake up for a couple hours, and still doze off. It's almost like they didn't put something in the air. The other day, I went to go get my hair twisted up. Normally, I don't fall asleep in nobody's chair. Like, I don't fall asleep in nobody's chair. I am wide awake. I'm in that lady's chair and I'm just dozing off. I just can feel my head bobbing, you know. So, and the thing about it is, it wasn't like I didn't have entertainment. I got my cell phone. She had one of my comfort shows on, and I'm still like dozing. I dozed off 2 times, and I caught myself because I'm like, I don't want her to be having to move my head. And I'm like, I dozed off, woke back up, came home, stayed up for a little bit, and went back to sleep. And this weekend, like, I've been feeling super dosed. And it wasn't just this weekend. It was ever since it seemed like 2026 has came about. I'm just dozing off and sleeping a lot. I'm trying to wonder, maybe they put something in the air. I'm joking right there, but still, I'm still saying it's something going on. Anybody else feeling that way?
You hear something really kind of weird?
I'm begging for it.
All right. There's a group of people that built an exact replica of the Ark of the Covenant. It took them 3 years to make. The chief architect chooses to remain anonymous. So they put the Torah, which is the Hebrew Bible, in the Ark of the Covenant. They just did that. And he said, quote, "When that Torah was put in this Ark, it became weaponized." This was probably the strangest part of this whole story. Do you know where this replica of the Ark of the Covenant was for 8 months before they brought it to Israel?
Antarctica.
Trump's house, Mar-a-Lago.
No joke.
It was in Trump's house for 8 months before it was brought to Israel. Why was it there?
That is insane.
I don't know what to make of it.
In the past 8 months, it's been in Florida.
Yeah.
Hurricane. We've had a pretty good year.
Except all the hurricanes. I truly don't care how anyone voted. Just looking at face value, that's strange.
Oh, that's 100%.
What if the United States isn't actually broke? What if the $21 trillion that went missing didn't disappear at all? Here's the part nobody wants to talk about. Between the Pentagon and HUD, researchers uncovered over $21 trillion in unaccounted spending. Not millions, but trillions. And there was never a real explanation. But here's where it gets wild. There's a theory that this money was used to build a breakaway civilization underground. Massive cities, advanced tech, secret transportation systems, entire facilities buried miles underneath the United States that regular people will never get to see. Former insiders have claimed there are hundreds of deep underground military bases connected by high-speed tunnel, not for defense, but for continuity. A backup civilization in case the surface world collapses. And if that's true, then the debt isn't a failure, it's a cover. If trillions were quietly rerouted into an off-the-book civilization, the public has to believe the money is gone. Otherwise, we'd start asking the wrong questions. Like, who's living down there right now? And why weren't we invited? If you really think about it, it does make a lot of sense. Stay weird.
We've been reset 7 times, going on the 8th. Coming into this reset, Christian was awokened at 9 years old with memories even probably younger than that and so on. This is the time, but not yet. And he is a messenger. There is no God.
Yeah.
God is a construct, a story written by reptiles underneath the dome. I did church. I raised my children. I did all that. I believed in a globe.
Right.
But after Trump won, you either woke the fuck up or you're still sleeping. And I am here to try and wake my neighbor. No, I mean, they don't listen. You have to understand that 75% of the world is non-player characters.
Yeah, they're just walking around zombies, basically.
Right. It's a broken soul. Because they manufacture Donald Trumps, Obamas. They can take your consciousness and put it in a can on a shelf and put it in other bodies that they simulate. That's already gone on for millions of years under our 8,000-year-old dome.
Right.
There's no clones. Come on. Wake the fuck up.
The Department of War just confirmed the existence of directed energy weapons, which is something that people were called conspiracy theorists for believing in. And now the government, or the Department of War, is literally confirming that we do in fact have directed energy weapons and that they're actually scaling them, meaning that they're trying to make more and do more with the directed energy weapons. So now we actually have to have a conversation about smart cities and about directed energy weapons being used allegedly in order to destroy real estate so that these smart cities can come about. And also about directed energy weapons that pertain to specific people, like targeted people who, you know, have claimed that there are directed energy weapons that actually target someone's heart or target something specific in a human being in order to hurt them or manipulate. Like, now we need to start asking those questions, because the Department of War is coming out and saying that we have directed energy weapons as if that's not something that people were literally demonized for believing and literally called conspiracy theorists for believing. And now they're just coming out and saying, yeah, we actually do have directed energy weapons. Right. So then what are you using them for? And have you used them already in some places? Hawaii, you know, other places that have forest fires. Have they been used already in order to clear out real estate? Allegedly. And also, do you guys have them to where they can target a specific one person to be afflicted with some sort of pain? Or to, you know, be given a heart attack from this directed energy weapon? You know what I mean? I feel like now we need to be asking those questions. Because it's already enough that people were called conspiracy theorists for believing in those things. But now that they're confirming the existence of directed energy weapons, it's like, right. So then what have you been using them for up until this point? Because you're saying that you're going to be scaling them as the Department of War, right? But you've already been using them because you're confirming that they exist. So what have they been used for, and what are you doing with them? And does it have something to do with phenomenon where it seems like there are fires starting out of nowhere, or when people feel like they're being targeted specifically by directed energy weapons? Like, is there some truth to that? Because that's how it's looking to me. This is really just wild, though. Like, the Department of War is confirming directed energy weapons. This time that we're living in is fucking diabolical.
Happened was people, very smart people, began to figure out that something big was coming up. Something that made it so all the possibilities of all the future scenarios of any choice, any possibility that was fed in and observed through the looking glass inherently ended up in the same future. And no decision, no possibility changed past a certain point. That's the big secret.
Okay, so is that certain point of 2012 in your understanding?
It well coincides with December 21st, 2012.
So at that point, all possibilities lead to the same
timeline.
Rubicon.
All possible timelines lead to the same basic set of history in the future.
And what is that history to you? Did you know that, or did you find that out?
That is the big question. That is the big secret. That is what sends everybody that has all of the information, that knows everything, into a blind panic. The people that know everything about Looking Glass, that have gotten all the reports and all the information, the elites of the world, probably figured out that that was the end of the game. And nothing could be manipulated beyond that point.
So do you think that's held true? In other words, well, I have about 60 questions, but do you think that's true, or holding true, that nothing could be manipulated, that they haven't found a way to manipulate, that that's still the case? I mean, this is knowledge that you would have gained back when?
Back when I was in the military, it would have been before 97 when I got in trouble. And it was...
Because I have a story about the devil too. Have you ever heard of Castle Huska?
Nah.
Really?
Nah.
Okay, bless. Because you always know shit. so this was allegedly built on the gate of hell.
Oh,
yeah.
For real?
So I think back in 1800 AD. So this
Yeah.
is way longer. This is AD.
Where is this? Where is it?
I don't know. I don't know where this is.
Yeah.
And they're saying that when it was built, a bunch of demons were released from
Oh, shit.
that hole.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? And so when construction workers, when it was under construction,
Mm-hmm.
they were saying to the prisoners in the village, okay, for anyone who wants to go down and investigate the hole,
Yeah.
we'll give them a pass. So I'll get out of jail free card.
Oh, because
right?
they're too scared.
Yeah.
They're too scared to check that shit out, bro.
No one wanted to go down
Yeah.
except for one person.
Mhm.
So when they put that person down in the hole, as soon as they lowered him,
Yeah.
he screamed like crazy. They pulled him out. He had gray hair right away. And when he pulled him out, he went insane. Like, he couldn't speak English no more.
Wait. He aged?
Yeah, he aged. He had gray hair when they pulled him out.
Yeah.
And he went mentally insane. He couldn't speak English. Like, everything was like crazy.
Yeah.
And the whole thing was like, after that, everyone fled from that hole. And the castle was built, but the castle was built with no windows because it wasn't meant for somebody to live in.
Oh, so it's like a fortress.
It's like a fortress. So that house is closing the gates of hell, is what they're saying.
Where is this place?
I don't know. Fuck. I don't want to. I'll search up later.
Yeah.
You guys can